This episode, sudden flash of a prophecy unfolding, the dark blue star that eventually, when this human, William Bruce McEachran, arrives in the Mother Dragon's world. She is at first fearful and then has much anxiety about this, but gets comforted and has a great throne room discussion about it. Prior to that, other things are going on in the other parts of the kingdom, and she gets aware of the harpies suddenly rising back to power because, again, she had been dethroned by the rising against her marrying a man that should have remained dead, Jon Snow. She's not too happy about that, but does make certain other discoveries that mysteriously appear on her beach of her world. So it's going to be quite the interesting episode here as it gets closer to the arrival of the human, this dragon sphere of which she has been foretold about. At the end of this episode, I want to tell you right now, just briefly, I made a challenge to Emilia Clarke. The challenge for Emilia Clarke is, would she, when a producer is found to approve the
miniseries, Game of Thrones: The Missing Link, Lost Pages of Time, which will connect the final eighth season of the original Game of Thrones to that of my quadrilogy, starting with the motion picture A New Revelation. Only time will tell. In the meantime, as it seems that the rise of the Harpies re-emerging becomes a little bit concern for Daenerys. Oh, sorry, my queen. Just, yeah, well, clear my throat. I have some news for you. Yes, go ahead. She seems a little bit interested, although looking at him concerned with him having to clear his throat. There is some news that, well, the one that you did not allow to travel with you at the time of, well, yes, the loss of the throne. Yes. Tyrion Lannister is married. Are you serious? He got married? Yes. And he is taking celebration type vacation for this marriage and is coming to Esseros. Perhaps, yeah, from what the rumors I heard, he may be swinging by here, but has stated that if you still do not want to see him, he will return back where he came from. But then again, you might, I don't know, make new friends with his wife. She goes by the name of Marcella. I see. Well, if he arrives, I shall see what he has to say. But he's still not going to have restored the title of Hand of the Queen. That is understood. So, is there anything else that you wish to report? Well, the Harpies have taken 3 cities already. Yes, I know. She looks down, not very happy with the subject. Did you have any ideas as to how we're to handle this situation? Well, I know that if I do anything now, it would probably be futile. Not that we are weak, but it is not destiny that we should take those cities back again. But we are to not let ourselves be caught off guard either. Very well said. So, what would you recommend? She kind of walks about around the meeting table. We should keep our eyes and ears open. If they try to attack the city, we will deal with them then. Unfortunately, though it would be tempting to do away with them again, and this time to make sure they stay gone, it might not be in our best interest, especially because a stranger, according to the Palace Visionary, has told me about a stranger that is destined to come to our world. He is not from any known kingdom, nor of our world. And for anything that should happen, not that anything could go wrong, but if something did, he would not have the privilege of facing me. Does this make sense to you? Do you not understand? No, I understand. So, we shall keep a lookout. We don't want to be caught off guard like last time when I chose a suitor who had me, though I was very reluctant at it at the time, of reopening the fighting pits. To be caught off guard, we shall stand ready in case they get the wrong ideas about trying to attack Mareen. That is well said. So I then will inform the others to perhaps maybe have guards stationed at certain areas out at the outlying borders of Mareen? Yes. Not to engage unless the enemy engages us, but to make sure that they are seen, that they will not allow such an attack on Mareen. And should you're gonna be okay. Yes, I'm sorry, it's the dust. Okay. As I was saying, the should the enemy attack, then that'll be their own undoing because merely attacking guards at the outskirts of the Marine border is only going to draw the Unsullied warriors after them. Granted, the Unsullied warriors and these Harpy are evenly matched, but then there's the rest of the knights under my command. So, may issue my order of decree that at stationed points along the borders outside Marine, that guards should be placed, keeping an eye open for where the Harpy would most likely attack. I doubt that they will try to attack by the sea, but we should not take any chances. Very well then, I will go ahead and issue this out upon your command. Thank you. And also thank you for the message about Tyrien. I guess to a point, I shall look forward to seeing him and see what he has to say for himself. Very well then. You are dismissed. Thank you, my queen. So with that, he then leaves. As Daenerys finally made her decision and decreed that the Harpies will once again meet their demise, but this time they won't be caught off guard like they were in an arena, that their demise, the way she sees it, will be brought to them, not the other way around. She then walks off, and they do not follow, and she walks down to the beach because something is glittering in the sand. She doesn't know what it is, and decides to check this out. And she makes her way finally down to the beach side where the waters of the Slaver's Bay meet the shore. She looks down and sees some strange metal. What could this be? She bends over and picks it up. What is this? She looks at it closely. I've never seen anything like this before. She's talking to herself. Usually she would never do, but it's something that has really caught her attention. Missandei, seeing her looking at something in her hand, decides to join her at the beach. While making her way there, Daenerys walks slowly, looking along the beach for a little bit, then stops and looks to the left, then to the right, then back in her hand. She shakes her head. She just doesn't understand what these things are. They look like coins, and there's even small pieces of metal and wood that are very unusual, nothing from her world before, as if maybe the wood itself came maybe from ships or boats, and the metal is thin but jagged and sharp. She quickly throws down the metal so not to cut her hand, and separates other coins that were embedded in the wood. She walks along the beach for a little bit, and then gets to a rocky outcrop, steps up on it, which is partly just a ways ahead from the beach line where the Slaver's Bay waves meets the beach, and looks out over the ocean waters but sees nothing. As Missandei continues working her way down, she finally, slowly but surely, eventually catches up with Daenerys. My queen, yes, You seem like you found something. Yes, I have. But these are not of our world. She turns and looks at her, kind of head slightly tilted, slight grin, and at an ample amount that she's collected. These coins are from different locations, and some of them have markings she can't even read. What she doesn't realize, she's actually holding coins that somehow sifted through a vortex. Some is Chinese money, some American money, and some even from the United Kingdom of the homeworld of the stranger that is due to arrive, but she doesn't realize this. As she makes her way back off the rocky outcrop, she then stands beside Missandei as she shows her in her hand. Missandei picks one up and looks at it. This is the strangest thing ever. Could it be an omen? And Daenerys has a big smile on her face and looks up. You think it belongs to the stranger? Well, if they did, they would be of no good or use here. We do not have such coins, if that's what they are. We have the golden dragon, the silver stag, and the copper penny. These are very strange in our world. So they continue walking a little bit, looking a little bit more down on the ground, seeing what they could find, but apparently that was it. Until they come up to a larger chunk of debris, and more coins are embedded in wood. Something of great force would have had to put them into the wood. They obviously couldn't have been a decoration. They both look down with somewhat of a serious look. Missandei then helps Daenerys dig these out. Perhaps this is a form of treasure. Maybe the gods are paying you to look after this one that's due to arrive. Missandei kind of has a slight grin. Why would the gods pay me to look after one who I'm to be mated with? Well, we all know that though we respect you as a high queen, Khaleesi, you do rule pretty firmly. Is this not true? Yes, it is. I've never been paid in such strange metals before. Maybe it's a gift. Perhaps, Khaleesi, you could be right. As they stand back up and looking at the debris, not and then over the Slaver's Bay area, but seeing nothing inside. To them, this is the greatest mystery. It is part fearful and yet part excitement. So they make their way back towards the palace. Daenerys decides to tell her of a dream that she had. I had a dream. It's not that we don't dream in our world, but this one's very unusual. Yes, my queen, please go ahead. She's got kind of a smile on her face, and she doesn't know how to start. You must have had a very good dream. My mood is changing. You know what this means, don't you, Daenerys? Not that I have the gift of foresight, but I would say that you are falling in love. But I haven't met nobody. Well, you haven't met the stranger yet. Is this possible to fall in love with someone sight unseen? Well, it is a mystery, isn't it? The visionary did say that you would fall for this one. Yes, but he didn't say that I would have this strange sensation about me. I have not even met him yet. And she then looks down, looking at the coins in her hand that are foreign to her world. So, then, what's your dream? Well, it involves symbolism. I, of course, being the mother dragons, I'm symbolized as the red dragon, as it is on my banners, and being the stronger of the one that's due to come to our world. She kind of thinks about how to explain it. And I, too, had this dream that the one coming from his world is going to come up on the shore one day, and I'm going to find him, and you're going to fall in love with him, aren't you? Oh, Missandei shakes her head in disbelief that she's explaining this to her. I don't know what to make of this. Well, please do tell. What did your dream involve? Well, they involve symbolism. She repositions herself so she's facing Missandei, taking Missandei by both hands after putting the strange coins in a pocket of her gown that she's wearing. It involves two dragons. They're not always the same color, but I think it's many dragons falling in love as a way of trying to tell me something. And so as she continues to discuss this, Missandei seems to be getting very intrigued as well, with a smile about the strangers to show up. And so this then becomes a musical scene about dragons' love. At the end of the scene, then she finally decides to find out what Missandei thinks. Is it destiny that I should dream this? Well, you have not really had, well, up to recently, though certain circumstances caused the annulment or dissolvement of you and Jon Snow. Perhaps this stranger could be very well the one you unite with. I know. I feel like a young girl again, about to fall in love for the very first time all over again. I haven't felt this feeling since I was with Drogo. It is so strange that I should be feeling this, and I've not yet met him. Well, My queen, perhaps this is a very good sign. You think so? Yes, I can see in your mood right now. You're no longer in mourning. Yes, that's true. It's like, even though it's the first time, because I've always come up on top and won many battles, and this is the first I've lost, though I have learned some from my mistakes, and as Visionary said, for a queen to admit and learn from her mistakes, she never repeats them, and thus becomes a true queen. But this other dream, then like most dreams, it weighs heavy on me. Not that I'm worried or distressed. How am I supposed to handle all this? I would handle it one day at a time. You will know when he is due to arrive. Certainly there must be other signs due to come. And if he's not of this world, Missandei turns and points at the sky as the sun's beginning to go down, the stars are starting to show. He could be from any one of those worlds way out there. Surely not all the points of light are suns like ours. Sun, they must be surrounded by other worlds like ours. Yes. She looks up as well, seeming really fascinated as to which one would be his, but can't seem to figure it out. It will be quite interesting because he will be so afraid, from what the visionary said, but you will comfort him. He will be all alone, and none of his kind here. In fact, from what I understand, he's going to be the only human here. Yes, that is true. And I feel somewhat saddened that though I would be delighted to have him here, many of his people shall perish because of another system colliding with his. But it is destiny. Perhaps the gods want him to come down here. I am continuing to remain celibate and true for this one that due to arrive. I have to. It is destiny if I'm ever to rule and sit upon the iron throne of swords to the realm of the kingdoms. Well, this is good, because this means you have commitment. Yes, I have commitment. Well, this is good. Missandei then gets a hug from Daenerys. You know, I'm so glad I freed you from slavery. I don't know what I'd do without you, Missandei. You always seem to give me encouragement, and you always listen to me when it may sound like nonsense or silliness. But in the end, it helps me to think things out thoroughly and true. I'm so moved by this. Well, was there anything else then that we needed to know about? No, that was it. Just the dream that I described to you. Well, then, this may be time for your dream to come true. Yes, perhaps so. So, with that, then they slowly walk back to the Pyramid Palace. After getting back to the Pyramid Palace, they have their dinner as usual in the banquet hall. And as she turns in for the night, she enjoys watching the stars because she is like spellbound by which star will it be that the stranger comes from. The fact that people would use the word human, like much of the humans' world called slang, for expressing themselves, and the fact that in the end, humans were nothing more than a legend of her world. Not that they would have ever had in the past met any, but because he will be an alien in her world, she has many fascinations to think about how he would be built And she laughs at herself because she can't keep her mind off the fact that she is hoping or wondering if he will be built like the men of her world, having a long, hard toll and 2 stones. That, again, it's as if she is a teenage girl with many curiosities, and she kind of shakes her head to shake this out of her head because she shouldn't be thinking about such things. But as she continues watching the night sky, the musical scene then shows her looking at all the various parts of the sky and about the kingdom as it becomes nightfall, with the light blue haze that comes above the mountaintops. Because, again, with our star being much larger, it seems to leave a bit of a glow above the mountains, even though it's still nighttime. At the end of the musical scene, she gets ready to turn in, and as she's heading in, she stops short, looks back at the night sky, then looks around as if to make sure nobody would hear or see her, then looks at the night sky again. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. You are a legend, but I am waiting. I may not be able to wait long because I am to have a suitor and be married. I don't know when you will arrive, but I am here. And after that, she then turns in for the evening. In the King's Landing, a special ceremony is being held to finally coronate Johnston, former King Tommen's cousin, as the new heir, rightfully, to sit on the throne of the Yarn's swords for the realm of the kingdoms. Marjorie is also declared as a hero, though she had been brainwashed by something that kept her within the faith of the Seven Temple, and thus Miri shall take her position, sitting at the right hand, following in the stead of King Johnston. Once she takes her place, a special appropriate type coronation takes place, and thus he takes and assumes his duties as the new king for King's Landing. During the coronation, which is the celebration that followed him at an earlier point in time, having been crowned upon appointment by Lady Tyrell's, the mother of Queen Margie, a great time of celebration then begins. Lady Tyrell comes forward. Yes, my king, I take it there's a reason you called me here? Yes, in fact, today is a great day for celebration. And what's that supposed to mean? What if things were not as they seem? He kind of says with a slight grin, looking at her slightly. It would be interesting, would it not, if there were a survivor from the faith of the Seven Temple, would it not? Yes, but how could that be? The whole temple blew up. Everybody was killed. And you're certain of this. Did you yourself, or no disrespect, have anybody inspect the rubble? No. You mean there is someone alive? Yes. I believe you might know this someone quite well. My wife, Queen Mary, was walking about, and I guess she had curiosity get the best of her because there wasn't an area that she should have gone for her own safety, but she did. And it was probably for a good reason, I would imagine, and probably a good thing she did. Well, don't be beating around the bush. Spit it out. No disrespect, of course. That's okay. We have a survivor. Really? Who would this be? Well, as I said, my wife, Queen Mary, had done a walkabout. Of course, entering an area that's, restricted because of safety reasons. Heard something. She even saw things that didn't look right. As she looked closer, it would appear that somebody was reaching through the rubble. So, from what I understood, that she and I have discussed, pulled the rubble back as best she could, and, well, she found someone. She assured this survivor not to be afraid, and the survivor knew it was a friendly face, of course, took her in, cleaned her up, and she's even given birth to us a boy. an heir to this throne. Lady Tyrell is getting very suspicious with her eyebrows raised. Who would be an heir to the throne? All survivors. She stops and thinks, then looks at him quickly. It couldn't be. Queen Miri, my love, would you bring in the survivor? Yes, I would be delighted. Lady Tyrell looks over at Queen Miri, then cross-eyed to her right at King Johnston. You know, this is no time for games. It is a painful subject. Yes, you're right. This is no game. And the painful subject that you're thinking of is, well, it'll be somewhat removed because there was only one survivor. He says again with a grin like he knows something, but keeps her with much anticipation in suspense. Then enters a very well cleaned up, dignified Queen Margie and a handmaiden assigned to her holding her newborn. Lady Tyrell turns around and mouth drops open and her eyebrows raised. Oh, is all she could say, and as if she's seen a ghost. Mother, I am alive. Lady Tyrell, much tears in her eyes. My daughter. And Mary says, well, I guess now would be a good time to hug your mother so she knows you're not a ghost. Yes, you're right. And so Queen Margie, almost as if she's running, throws her arms around her mother, and her mother hugs her as well. I thought you were dead. No, I survived. Barely, but I survived. And this is your grandson, thanks to Queen Mary here, cleaning me up and catching me up to speed on things. I suddenly had to give birth. I was able to survive for in not a very good, dignified way, but I managed to survive when others would not listen. And what of your brother? I'm sorry, Mother. I don't think he made it. I see. Well, I suppose I'll need to change the petition of abominations against the Queen Regent. It'll give her a lighter sentence, but nevertheless, the petition will go through because of what happened to your brother. And I couldn't agree with you more. Though he finally got brainwashed, and I confess I was too. I, without disrespecting anyone present, have no intention of going back to the faith of the Seven because of things that were done to me, and though I do not intentionally try to defend the Queen Regent, the things that were done to her, but especially things were done to my brother, though he did things that were unnatural with certain other servants and lords of the kingdom. Nevertheless, he was my brother as he was much your son. Yes. Well. Oh man, I feel like I need to sit down. Well, do you have enough strength for us to go into the gardens and have a sit, and I will let you know of everything that had happened? Yes. So as they get ready to walk out, both her and Queen Margie look back at King Johnston and his wife, Queen Miri. I don't know how I can thank you for surprising me like this. Queen Miri then, with a gentle smile, then tells her, it was my pleasure, and I am just glad that something caught my attention to save her. Otherwise, we would have probably found her deceased had she been there much longer. Queen Margie, you must take care of your mother now. And remember, do not stray off, because she, the Queen Regent, would probably still have access to those that would serve her. For your own safety, yes, I agree. I will not go to that part of the sector that you have told me about in King's Landing, because I do understand she's on restrictions. And um, I thank you again for having saved my life. You are welcome. You are our guest. And until we can make arrangements as to where you shall be for your own protection, you will be under our guard for your own safety. I do accept this and appreciate it, Queen Mary. So with that, Queen Margie and her mother walk out of the throne room arm in arm, happy that they are together, and Lady Tyrell is very well pleased that her daughter is alive and that at least one of her children did not perish. And thus ends the scene of a reunion of blessings. At night, it was all quiet, and suddenly it was as if like the whole night sky kind of lit up. Not very bright, but bright enough to where a bright bluish glow was coming up above the mountaintops from where you could see outside the balcony uh, from some open doors of her chambers. And as the blue light cleared the blue haze, which is typical of her world because her sun being that much larger than that of the star known as Sol, which the stranger's planet Earth orbits, it was very bright, almost like what the human world of Earth would call a Star of Bethlehem. But the star is not like that at all. He's not a savior, nor some kind of special being like that from his world. The light seems to waken um, Daenerys, and she catches her in her subconscious. She gets up and slowly walks out that night in the cool breeze to the balcony of her chambers and looks out. The light is so bright and brilliant, her mouth slightly drops open with a big smile, as if she's a teenage girl seeing something of very much excitement and extraordinaire, never to be seen in all the history of Targaryen, and is a sight to behold. She is later joined by Missandei, who is also seeing this. Are you alright, my queen? Yes. Do you see this too? Yes, I was woken by a strange flash of light. They both look up. Does this mean he's here? No, I don't sense that, says Daenerys, with her head to, facing almost towards Missandei, but still looking up at the sky with her eyes. I think this is something else. Do you think this is the world he'll be coming from? Perhaps. I might have to consult the visionary about this. They continue watching it for some time as it races slowly until it's about midpoint above the mountaintops at a good distance from where it came out of. And they both look at each other and kind of puzzled. As long as you're up, I think I need to, well, I need to talk to you about something. I have this strange sensation about me. You have something good to share. Yes, I haven't even met him yet. I have these strange feelings I cannot explain. I feel as though I am excited about this. Is that wrong? No, it is not, my queen. And she and Daenerys sits down on the bench together. Khaleesi, yes, you know, this could be like maybe destiny. It's not just a prophecy, but a blessing from the gods. The fact that this one that we have not met yet could be coming from perhaps that star. She looks over back at it. It is a mystery. I wonder if this world is, well, it's supposed to be smaller than ours. Have they ever had any visitors from other worlds? I guess we'll only know when the time comes to ask him. Yeah, so suppose you're right. May I speak freely, Khaleesi? Yes, you may. I detect that there is some very excitement in your life right now. Does it show? Well, you don't seem to be in a bad mood, or feeling a sensation of loss. It only shows now and then, but not as much as it was before. I see. Um, well, how can I be feeling this if I've never met him? Perhaps it's the anticipation of knowing this stranger. She kind of smiled a bit. Daenerys kind of looks at her with an eyebrow raise. You find this funny or humorous? No, my queen. I just recall a conversation we were having. Oh, you mean about the stranger? Yes, when you, me, and Grey Worm were all in the same room. Oh, she moves her head with a big smile. And what were you thinking about? Please do share. Well, do you think you would really be worried about whether he had a big pole and two stones? Are you seriously bringing this up now at this late hour? Well, you did kind of mention it as to your curiosities. Well, you don't think I was acting appropriately? No, of course not. Well, it has crossed my mind. Does he look like us? And yes, I have thought about this again. I feel so embarrassed saying this now. And she kind of has this big smile, shakes her head like she can't believe she's talking about this again. Missandei, it's just something that I don't know. I mean, he's from another world. He's supposed to be shorter than me. How do I take that? And he's not as strong as me. So how can he win a victory? I mean, how do I know he doesn't have a short pole and two stones? I mean, not that I would hold it against him if he gets me a victory, but how is he going to be able to please me if he's not, you know, got a big enough pole and two stones? Well, he might surprise you. It could be small at first, and, well, you mean grow really big. They must seem to laugh about this and trying to be as quiet as they can to not wake anybody else. This is quite the interesting conversation we're having so late at night because of a blue star. Yes, it is, my queen. Well, I suppose having a pole and two stones is not everything. I mean, after all, um, it would be the love of two dragons, symbolically speaking. She kind of rolls her eyes a bit. And I would imagine it'd have to be love from the heart. But then again, I don't want to be celibate all the time, not even when he's here. And if I'm to remain true to him, I'm sure he's going to miss not being able to mate with those of his own kind. And of course, I'm not going to be not without wanting certain affections and attentions. Well, of course, my queen, you should have someone in your life. Well, I'm just not sure. It's like I've always been guilty, even when my best friend came up missing. Elsa Valeria. We used to have different things and ideas about curiosities we had. She was more like the explorer. And I've always had curiosities about, the men's pole and two stones, how big it gets, how hard it is, how long it is it thick? Is this wrong with you talking this? The son, he's like, wow, I can't believe we're actually talking about this. Yes, I know, and this, like, not ladylike. It's a good thing nobody else in the palace are awake to hear us. Yes, indeed. And then I've always wondered, how does a man pee from his palm-2 stones? How much seed comes out? Does certain things have a flavor? You know what I'm talking about? The zombie's eyebrows raised. Wow, I didn't know you had that many curiosities. Well, I was a young girl, and unlike most children of the known Seven Kingdoms, I didn't really get a whole lot of chance to play and have friends like others. So, when you are a young Targaryen girl growing up, you tend to have a mind that wanders with much curiosities and wants of answers that cannot be answered until, I don't know, maybe never, or the right time comes along. Well, maybe this will be the right time. Yes, but he could be very bashful and shy. I don't want to scare him because, well, we don't even know if people in this will think the same thing like I do. Well, they both seem to snicker about this again. It would be something interesting to have a discussion with him. Perhaps we should make sure that he's welcomed first, not get angry with him or scare him off. At least welcome him to the world, get to know him. Maybe treat him out to, like, I don't know, palace dinners. Maybe he eventually will want to go shopping and get you things. Not that he would try to be like the men of the world who get you flowers. No, I understand. But then him spoiling me with gifts would be good. But he may not even have the same money that we do. Well, you know, you are still the Queen of Mareen. Yes, I am. Perhaps you could give him allowance. I think you're right. Well, if it's our idea, I'll take my leave and return to my chamber so I can get some rest. Very well, Missandei. Thank you again. And as always, it's being confidential. Yes, you have my loyalty on this. Nothing will be said of our late night discussion. Yes, indeed, this would be not very good for the both of us. So she takes her leave. She looks up at the sky one more time as the dark blue star is eventually getting back down to the horizon of the mountain, into the haze, and eventually is about to disappear. Then, before it does, she turns in and returns back to her slumber in her chambers. Before she does turn in, though, she noticed something that the blue bright star does. It suddenly gets really, really bright, and then kind of like it goes out to a very small blue dot, um, and then disappears, as if it was trying to tell her something. Missandei, before she turns in, notices her still watching. I just saw something unusual before it disappeared. You did? Yes, it got really, really bright, flickered, and then went down to a small blue, like, speck in the sky. Do you think this also has any type of meaning? I hope nothing happened to him. No, perhaps it was the end of the sign that you were to have, and now, like us, he is going to slumber before you rise. Perhaps you're right. I wonder if he'd be looking up in the sky to our world and wondering if he thinks he will meet someone not of his world. That would be interesting. But I wonder if he even has palaces or visionaries like us. I don't know. It would certainly be something to think about. I know that if it were possible, I would communicate to him from our world to his, but I know that we don't have no such abilities to do that. Yes, and I would imagine he does not either have the ability to contact us from his world. But the fact that he's going to be coming here from his world is going to be quite the revelation. Yes, it will. Again, I do thank you, Missandei, for checking in on me. You are a true friend indeed. And as far as our, she covers her mouth a bit, she's almost trying to keep from laughing, our very, lady talk discussion. Yes, I know, you want to keep this confidential, yes. Certain people at the palace might not find that very well dignified for a queen to have her mind wander in areas that would be considered inappropriate. Yes, I understand. There are certain secrets that a woman must keep when she has, how should we say, fantasies of love. Yes, that is true. Don't mind sharing them with you, but wouldn't want the whole palace to figure this out. That is true. So they both have a big smile about this. Um, we should discuss this when we wake in the morning in the throne room. Not only of the things we found on the beach that are obviously not of this world, but the things that we have seen. And perhaps the visionary can explain what it was that we saw. That would be a very good idea. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Oh, it's not a problem for me, my queen, as long as you will get plenty of sleep. Yes, I think I shall have sweet dreams on the things that we have seen. Every time something different and unusual happens, I seem to think a lot about the things to come, the great expectations, and what the joys of happiness I will have when the stranger arrives, and how he it is for someone being short in stature and somewhat frail, being a champion of mine or a hero to lead me to that which I have rightful claims to. I I seem to have much to think about. Yes, you do seem to have your mind preoccupied on this guy, whoever he is. Well, they give each other a hug. You have a good night, Missandei. And you too, Daenerys. And so with that, they both, in their own chambers, return back to sleep.